Hey everyone, welcome to the Prosperity Playbook. You've got 4 friends here that are talking about all of the things that we had to learn the hard way. Today we're talking about alcohol and specifically rethinking our relationship with alcohol. I recently did a sober September, and I think there are, people do sober October and sober January and whatever, but I did a sober September, mostly just because I was really wanting to have some more self-discipline. And for me, that was one of the easiest ways to do it because it wasn't adding any extra time onto my day. It was just something that I could easily do. But also because I had not been sleeping very well and I was only having a glass of wine every night. It's not like I was, drunk, but you'd be surprised how much a glass of wine every night affects your sleep. But we got talking about this conversation and realized that there's definitely a big trend right now towards sobriety in any form, whether that's full sobriety or just
taking a break.
Drinking less, taking a break. Exactly. So we have all kind of had some experiences around this, depending on where we are from in the country. I think that there is a very big difference in the conversation. I know Courtney, being from the South, has a totally different experience than what I have being from the Midwest. So tell us about your experience, Court.
Well, you have inspired me when you said you just wanted to see what kind of self-discipline that you can have, because that's like, those were my golden words. Now I want to try. But I grew up in the South, and every day people in the South typically have a drink around 5 o'clock. And if you don't have a drink, they wonder what's wrong with you. And it's hard alcohol a majority of the time. And out here in Montana, it's typically wine and beer. But going on that trend of taking a break, and there's so many options now for mocktails and other ways of participating in the whole social atmosphere of drinking without drinking. So I think if I'm going to try it, I need to have my substitute thing that I would get excited to try. Mm-hmm. And it can't be pretend alcohol or alcohol like wine or liquor.
Well, I know that there's some like mushroom
elixirs,
Mm-hmm. Or some what do they call it, endorphins, or I don't know, there's all kinds of different adaptogen. That's it. Yes, okay. Thank you. Where it's supposed to like kind of give you like
a euphoric feeling?
Yeah, like a little bit of a euphoric feeling.
And that's not even ever that for me with the drinking. I said earlier that I like the way it tastes.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
I'm an IPA girl, and I like my wine.
Oh, yeah. A good glass of wine can't be beat.
Me too. I'm actually doing my own just random 30-day no drinking challenge. It just kind of felt to me like it was becoming too much of a habit. And again, it's not like I was trying to be drunk or anything every night, but it was like that glass of wine tasted so good. So like, let's have another one. And then sometimes it felt like another one. Yeah, exactly. But you're right. It does destroy your sleep. And that was something I didn't really realize how much it was affecting my sleep until I cut it out. I mean, to be honest, I thought I'm going to go 30 days, no alcohol. And I'm like, weight's going to fall off me. I'm going to feel like running through the wall, like I'm going to just feel amazing. And I can't really say any of that thing has happened, but it definitely has helped my sleep. And to be honest, I don't really miss it that much. Like there have been a few times where I was like, it would be really nice to have a glass of wine right now. And for me, especially like going out to eat at a restaurant, I want that good glass of wine with my dinner for sure. But other than that, it's like, I just ordered club soda with lime. But I had an interesting experience with that because we went out to eat with some friends the other day and I ordered club soda and she was like, oh, thank God. I'm glad that you're not drinking because now I don't have to. And she's like, wine just makes me feel like crap anymore. It gives me an instant headache. And I thought, why? Like, she didn't need my permission to do that. But it's become such a social stigma. Like, if somebody's not drinking, it's like, why are you not drinking? Are you pregnant? Do you have a problem with alcohol? Or like, what's your story?
But we're such an athletic community in Montana. I think it's a lot easier here for people to not drink. I had a realtor open house at a listing last year and supplied different types of wine for people to try. Nobody wanted any. I was shocked. But they said either they don't drink or they didn't want to drink during that time of the day.
Well, I think that is awesome. I'm shocked at that. But that is something for me. Like if I'm somewhere and they're offering drinks like midday or earlier in the afternoon, I'm like, it will destroy my day. I will
Yeah.
be worthless the rest of the day. 'Cause I'll be like,
mandatory nap.
right. Yeah, mandatory nap, or else you just go into party mode and you're like, oh, but this is a mimosa kind of day. All right. Like, I'm not going to be productive after that.
I know that for me, I was looking at all of the habits that I currently had and really looked inwardly and said, what is adding to my life and what isn't? And it's not even like alcohol, I wouldn't say was like removing from my life. It wasn't necessarily a negative thing, but it wasn't adding anything positively to my life, which is why I decided to do that Sober September for the self-discipline and also so that I could have a much more successful September by filling that time with something more positive. And I ended up getting a gym membership to our hot springs. And so now it's amazing because I work out and then I immediately get the reward of going and soaking in the hot springs. And I've been doing that most evenings. And had I had a glass of whiskey or a glass of wine when I got off work, I would not be going to the gym and then I would not be going to the hot springs. And I'm sleeping better. My energy is way better. Like all of the things that I wanted to occur have happened, not just because I stopped drinking, but because I've been able to fill that time with something that fills my bubble a little bit better.
Well, you just gave me an idea. We got a hot tub so I can work out in the hot tub
It's
instead
so
of
good.
Well, I do think that makes a big difference is having something else to replace it with. Because for me, once that glass of wine hit my hand, it was like, now I'm on the couch the rest of the night. This is where you will find me. Couch, fireplace, wine. Like, don't ask me to get up and do anything. And it, it's the day ender, I guess. But
well, it'd be nice to have that once a week.
right. Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, even like working from home, it's very easy for me to just work all evening long. So for me, I think sometimes having that glass of wine was like, okay, now I'm drinking. So now the work is going to stop. So it made me be like, nope, I'm done here. So I think there's probably healthier ways for me to do that.
Well, I have noticed that now that I've cut way back on it, now that I do have a drink, it is much more enjoyable because I'm really appreciating the craft of it. I'm appreciating whatever social thing I'm doing, the reason that I'm drinking it. I'm appreciating the taste of it. Whereas before it was just a habit. I was just drinking the wine for the sake of drinking the wine. Whereas now, like you said, I sit in front of the fireplace and take a sip and it's like, oh,
right.
I earned this week.
Right. Instead of like, oh, there's an open bottle from last night. I might as well just pour a glass.
Exactly.
Well, I think the punishment thing is an important context for this conversation because Montana laws are very lenient and people just don't think twice about it. There are countries in Europe, it's like you get caught drinking and driving once, you lose your license forever. And I mean, if that's your consequence, you think of twice about it. Or even, I think like Minnesota has a lot stronger rules around DUIs, I've heard, just different states and different rules. And when the judge was speaking to us at Biz to Biz the other day, people asked him about that. And he's like, there's no appetite for that in Montana. Like, and I don't know if it's just because the higher level politicians like drinking and driving. I don't know. But they just said there would never be support for that in Montana, which is really sad.
I think we used to have a mayor, maybe in Townsend, that there was a new policeman that kept pulling him over and telling him he couldn't drink and drive. And this was decades ago. And the mayor said, boy, where are you from? And he said, Texas. And he said, you need to go back to Texas. This is how we do it in Montana.
Yikes. I mean, I think that this is changing slowly but surely. I do think like the rideshare apps have helped that substantially. But I do think, like we said earlier, when one person kind of starts that trend, other people feel empowered to do it. And I think, there's this whole word sober curious now. And I think there's a lot of people that are like, what would it be like if I didn't have this distraction in my life or this expense in my life or this poison? I mean, realistically, there's no amount of alcohol that's literally safe for us. It's literally poison we are putting into our bodies, love it or hate it. That's literally what it is. So I think it's a very personal decision for people. For me, like there's so many things that I love about the idea of just being sober and not having that. But I don't want it to be like a never, ever on the table thing for me. I love that glass of wine with a nice dinner. If I'm going out to celebrate and have a big steak, I want a glass of red wine with that as well. And I just don't want that to go away. But I definitely haven't missed it as much as I really thought that I would. So
That's a big thing that I'm leaning into is trying to not give in to peer pressure anymore. It's not, I'm going to have a glass of wine because I'm going to happy hour with the girls. It's, I'm going to get oysters because I'm going to happy hour with the girls, and I'll get a club soda or whatever. But I've been really trying to just change the way that I view it because it is such a societal expectation. And it's just, if you're going to happy hour, if you're going to brunch, you're going to get mimosas. Or if you're going out on the weekend, you're going to get a whiskey with your dinner. Like, it's just an expectation. And I feel like every movie that I've ever watched has had alcohol in it. So I'm trying really hard to reframe my expectations where I'm not going out to drink. I'm going out to spend time with the people that I love. And yeah, maybe I'll get a cocktail and enjoy it, but I'm not going out just for the sake of getting the drink. And in college, I was absolutely going out for the sake of getting the drink. And then the next drink, and then the next drink.
Well, and I think the tough question is the why. And I think for a lot of people, drugs and alcohol are numbing from something. It's, I don't want to feel stressed, sad, mad. I don't want to think about my past, like whatever it is. I think it's a numbing thing. And that's the part that scares me the most about it. And that was I'm like, is there something I'm trying to numb? Stress? Yes, for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm sure like that was I'm shutting my laptop for the day type of situation. But when you're numbing things, you're just not present. And like the whole point of being alive is to be present in what you're doing. So that was the reason that I decided to do it. I needed to check into what was really happening in my emotions, in my life. Like, what is there something I am trying to numb that I'm not happy with that I need to actually fix? But it was interesting because the first week, all I did was just crave sugar. And I was like, I would just like couldn't get enough sugar. And so then I was like, well, I'm going to do a no sugar challenge too, which I don't actually recommend.
Double whammy. Well, I just like the flavor of the IPA or the really good Côte d'Aron. I could care less if I ever feel anything from it. So I wish the non-alcoholic options tasted more like those things. The athletic, if we can say that, is good.
Well, I think the most important thing when it comes to this conversation is just there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong amount of alcohol. It's, it's really personal preference. Just because there is a big trend towards sobriety doesn't mean that everyone has to be sober. Just like, depending on if you live in the South, for example, just because everyone around you is drinking doesn't mean that you have to drink too. So do what feels right. And if you're sober curious, lean into it. There are a lot of really good options out there. You can try some nice cold ass beer and let us know
There's
your
groups
thoughts.
on Facebook and social media for it too if you need, ideas or support.
Yeah, there's tons. I mean, once you start saying things like non-alcoholic, then your entire Instagram feed gets filled with all of the different options that you can buy that are expensive. And, but it's fun to try and just to see. My problem with it is most of them are sugary. Like they're very sweet and I'm not into the
No, I don't like sugar.
piece of it. So
I like good water.
well, that's a great thing to be addicted to.
That water you're drinking over there is one of my favorites.
Oh, the Liquid Death?
Yes.
Yes. I actually got accused of drinking a Miller Lite Tall Boy on a coaching call the other day. I was like, no, it's literally water.
The best water I've ever had was in Stavanger, Norway.
So, yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's a very personal journey. And I guess my encouragement would be if you're curious, give it 30 days. Like just take 30 days off, see how you feel about it. I think certain people feel amazing. Certain people don't feel a lot different. But it doesn't hurt anything to try, and it might really teach you some things about yourself.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Next week, we're going to be talking about slaying the sales stigma, how to close with confidence. Here's to empowering each other, one story at a time.